Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about chlorine, their preparation, their physical properties, their chemical properties and uses. Probably today itself in this one lecture I will complete all the things. Then we will go to the HCl tomorrow. Then we will go to the interhalogen compounds and then we will go to 18 group. So today the class is very important. Chlorine, we are going to discuss about important points on chlorine. Many a time has been asked in the exam. Clear? Easy process, easy things, everything like it's very easy. But my suggestion is simply don't read. Write and read and read and write. If you will practice and practice, then only you will come to know, else you will not come to know. Clear? And please open your textbook with you. Certain times what you know, I will go beyond the textbook also. Why I am going beyond the textbook? Because it will help you in the competition exam. But for your boards, textbook is enough. So first you prepare the textbook and then you go for the some competition books. Okay. Here whatever I am doing the process in your book, the process will be giving only 2-3 process will be given. But I will go beyond the limits because I have to do the competition along with me. That's why. Clear? So see, chlorine molecular formula is Cl2. In the starting lecture of group number 17, we have discussed one point that each halogen required one electron to make a bond. So what will happen? There will be a covalent bond will be existing between two atoms of same halogen and they will exist as a diatomic molecule. So we have discussed F is existing as a F2, Cl2, Br2, I2. So the chlorine molecular formula is Cl2. This chlorine was first discovered by scientist Klee. Klee was very free. He went to the laboratory and he has taken HCl and he reacted HCl with MnO2. So when he reacted the HCl with MnO2, he is seen that there is a one green color gas, but he could not give the name. So first chlorine gas was made by whom? Klee. Klee has made the gas in laboratory by the action of concentrated HCl on MnO2. When he reacted MnO2 with HCl, he observed that there is a one green color gas which is emerging during the reaction, but he could not give the name. After certain years, in the year nearly 1810, scientist Davy, remembering no, Pirates of Caribbean, Davy Jones. So remember in this way, Davy. So Davy in 1810, he gave the name to this gas as this gas was green in color. So in Greek, green means chlor and gas. So he gave the name chlorine gas by seeing its color. Chlor means green color gas. So chlorine gas is a one type of a green color gas, yellowish green color gas, and yellowish green, this color in Greek is known as a chlor and in means gas. So chlorine gas, in this way name came. So who discovered the gas? Klee was the scientist who discovered the gas, but after certain years, Davy was the scientist who gave the name to that gas. Clear this part? So we will see this preparation. First preparation is by heating the mixture of NaCl, H2SO4, MnO2. We will see this and it's very easy also. I will explain here 1-2 points are there. Then by the concentrated HCl on KMnO4 or by the action means adding. Action means not, it is not a movie. He will not show any action like a movie. By the action means by adding, by reacting. So by the concentrated HCl on KMnO4, we will see this Decans process and we will see the electrolysis of a brine, and brine means what? Concentrated NaCl solution. Clear? First two processes are industrial method and second two processes are the, first two processes are the laboratory method and second two processes are nothing but industrial method. Clear this part? Okay. So now see here. Clear? Now first we will see, first topic we will see. By heating the mixture along with me, first you see, then you write down, of NaCl, H2SO4 and MnO2. See how this reaction occurs. When I react NaCl plus H2SO4 with MnO2. So see here, I get the product as NaHSO4, then I get MnCl2, H2O and Cl2. So in this way I get the, so this is the answer. I get MnCl2, NaHSO4, H2O and chlorine gas. So in this way I obtain the chlorine gas. Now student, this reaction is very important. Why? We will see. See here directly I have shown the first step. Actually this reaction occurs in two steps. In the first step what happens, in the first step these two will get react. So what will happen here? NaCl, see these steps. So this is the first step. NaCl will react with H2SO4. How? We will see. Na plus Cl minus. Please focus, these reactions are very important. H plus and here HSO4 minus will be generated, not SO4 2 minus. Please remember this. So this Na plus and HSO4 minus will react NaHSO4 plus HCl. Now this HCl will react with this MnO2. So this is your second step. So you will get here MnCl2 plus H2O plus Cl2. Here if you add, you will get the answer. Clear? So when you add this HCl and this HCl will get cancelled. You will get NaHSO4, MnCl2, H2O and Cl2. So in this way, actually this is not a first step reaction. This occurs in two steps. In the first step, first these two will get react, NaCl and H2SO4, and they will generate sodium bisulfate and HCl. Then this HCl is responsible for generating the chlorine gas, because this HCl will react with MnO2 and generate chlorine gas. In this way, first you write down. Take a screenshot, pause the video, write down. Okay, so I hope you written this. Now, in this way, I can generate bromine gas also. In this way, I can generate iodine gas also. But in this way, I cannot generate fluorine. Please remember this. See, instead of here NaCl, if I take here NaBr, I hope you written now. Okay, this need not to write down, just only for information. Instead of NaCl, if I take here NaBr, so I will get here HBr. Then this HBr will react with MnO2 and I will form here Br2 and I will get here MnBr2. Clear? So this is also the preparation of bromine gas. Similarly, I can react with iodine also. Why? I will react sodium iodide. I will get here Hi. I will get here Hi. I will get here MnI2. I will get here iodine. Clear? So I can use this process to generate chlorine, to generate bromine, to generate iodine, but I cannot use this process for fluorine. We will see why. See, I can generate for chlorine, I can generate for bromine, I can use for iodine. Why? See here, this iodine is here -1 and here iodine is 0. Yes or no? Iodine is 0, here also Mn. So this -1 to 0 is nothing but what? Oxidation. See. So I can say that HCl or Hi or HBr are oxidized to I2. HCl, HBr or Hi are oxidized to Cl2 or Br2 or I2 if I use here HCl. So I can say here HCl is oxidized to Cl2 by MnO2. If I use here HBr, so I will say that HBr is oxidized to Br2 by MnO2, or if I use here Hi, so I can say Hi is oxidized to iodine by MnO2. Clear? So your MnO2 is responsible for oxidation of doing this. But if I use here HF, so HF cannot generate here fluorine. No, it is not possible. So this reaction will be wrong. Why? Because MnO2 cannot oxidize fluorine. MnO2 cannot oxidize fluorine because once HF has gained the electron, cannot lose back electron, because HF cannot undergo oxidation. For oxidation you have to lose the electron, and HF cannot lose the electron, being the strong electron negative in nature. So MnO2 cannot oxidize HF to F2. That's why this process cannot be used for fluorine, whereas this process can be used for production of chlorine, bromine and iodine. So this question can come in the exam. Why the laboratory method cannot be used for generation of fluorine gas? Because MnO2 cannot oxidize HF to F2, because HF, fluorine, being a most powerful oxidizing agent than even MnO2. So it cannot use HF to F2. So this reaction cannot occur. That's why I written here wrong. This reaction cannot occur. The reason is MnO2 cannot oxidize HF to F2. That's it. But instead it was here Cl. So I would have got Cl2. Then reaction would have occurred. If I use here I, so I2 would have got, the reaction would have occurred. If I add here HBr, so Br2 would have got, so the reaction would have occurred. But if I write here HF, so I would have not got F2, because MnO2 cannot oxidize HF to F2, because fluorine being a most electronegative agent and more powerful oxidizing agent. That's why MnO2 cannot oxidize HF to F2. So this reaction, this process cannot be used for the production of fluorine gas, but yes, it can be used for chlorine, bromine, iodine. Okay, so write down this. Write down one reason along with me, please. The above method cannot be used for generation of F2 because HF cannot be oxidized by MnO2. HF cannot be oxidized by MnO2 because fluorine being a more electronegative element. HF cannot be oxidized by MnO2 because fluorine being a more electronegative element or most powerful oxidizing agent. Or most powerful oxidizing agent. Who? Fluorine. Clear this portion? So this was the competition point, that's why I told you, but you have to remember for HCl, okay? For competition exam it's okay, but for you to remember for what? Especially you to remember for HCl. Okay, so this is your first preparation. So you can remember here HCl, take here NaCl, take here HCl, MnO2, MnCl2 plus Cl2. Yeah. So this is the first preparation. Okay, and what was the key point? I told you that this reaction can be used to generate same way Br2, same way I2, but same way F2 cannot be generated because MnO2 cannot oxidize F minus to F2 being a strong oxidizing agent. Who? F2, and more electronegative in nature. Clear? So this is your first preparation. Written now? Understood that key point also? Please make a note, okay? Along with me also write down. So I'll go with the next method. So we'll see the next method. The next method is by the action of, see next method, by the action of concentrated HCl on KMnO4. This is simple reaction to remember also. So remember KMnO4 react with HCl, so it will generate KCl, MnCl2, H2O and Cl2 gas. So in this way you can generate the reaction. Please write down this reaction. MnCl2, KCl, H2O and Cl2. In your book they have given the reaction with ionic form. So I can write down the ionic form also reaction. They have given like this: MnO4 minus plus H plus and Cl minus. So answer will be MnCl2 means Mn plus 2, no? Plus H2O plus Cl2. Okay, so write down this. So this is given, I hope, in your book. I don't know, it would we have given also, but both the answers are correct. You write down with this or you write down this. Clear? So this part, yes or no? Okay, write down, take a screenshot. Chalo, fatafat. Next, now we will see the industrial process, and it's very important. But before going to Deccan's process, write down one key point. So we will see the third, that is Deccan's process. Write down Deccan's process, very important. Okay, write down along with me. In this process, HCl vapor is oxidized. In this process, HCl vapor is oxidized in the presence of CuCl2 as catalyst. In the presence of CuCl2 as catalyst at the temperature nearly 723 Kelvin. Okay, so in this, what we are doing? We are taking the HCl vapors and we are doing oxidize. Who will help in oxidation? Oxygen. We are adding oxygen in the presence of what? CuCl2. Please remember this catalyst. This is very important. at 723 Kelvin, so you get Cl2 plus H2O. Decans process is over, that's it. Clear? So Decans process is what? In this process what we are doing? We are doing the oxidation of HCl vapors. We are doing the oxidation of HCl vapors at nearly what temperature? 723 Kelvin temperature, and you have to use one special catalyst, and the catalyst is CuCl2. Clear? Fourth process we will see. See, this process is very important, okay? Please focus here. Electrolysis of brine. Electrolysis of brine. See, first we will see what are the consequences, what difficulty will arise. See, NaCl, when I pass the electric current, it will generate Na plus and will generate Cl minus. This will go to the cathode, this everything you know, no? And this will go to the anode. Now see students, when cathode, sodium will go. So sodium will be depositing at cathode. You think of yourself, can sodium can deposit at cathode? No. Sodium being a more reactive metal. So as it is deposit on cathode, the blast will occur, because you know when sodium is coming in contact with the vapor or air, it will get blast. So sodium will go to the cathode as soon as it get reduced to Na, so it will blast. So I have to develop one system that sodium also get deposited cathode and it should not get blast also. So what I will do now, see, check it out here. Now this is very understood, no consequence. So what is the problem with sodium? So something extra you have to do. See, chlorine will go to the anode, it will get oxidized and form Cl2 gas. Perfect. Chlorine gas will be liberated and will collect. But Na plus if goes to the cathode and generate Na, so sodium metal being a more reactive metal. If it comes in the contact with air, it will get blast. So this sodium should not get deposited directly on some other cathode. So some arrangement should be there so that sodium will also get deposited and blast also will not occur. So what is the arrangement? We will see. So see here, I will take NaCl and I will, if you see at cathode, so cathode here we are using mercury cathode we are using. Which we are using? Mercury cathode we are using. Okay, and we will see at anode. So what will happen, you know, as NaCl gets split in the form of Na plus and Cl minus, this Na plus comes at cathode and this Cl minus comes at anode. So first we will see at anode. So what will happen at anode? So at anode Cl minus will come. At anode what will occur? Oxidation means what? Loss of electrons. So loss of electron will occur and Cl will form in the form of Cl. Cl minus will form in a Cl. But you know Cl cannot exist as a Cl, it will exist as a diatomic molecule. So it will form here 2. It will also form here 2, it will also form here 2. This is the gas. So chlorine gas will be liberated at anode on electrolysis of brine. Brine means what? Concentrated solution of NaCl. Now this Na plus will come at a cathode, but at cathode what it is there? Hg. So it will form sodium amalgam, NaHg. This is nothing but what? Sodium amalgam. Understood why I am keeping the mercury electrode? If I don't keep the mercury electrode, sodium will directly deposit at cathode and sodium will come in the contact with air, it get blast. So blast should not occur, that's why I am using cathode as Hg, that is mercury. So this sodium will get deposited cathode, suddenly will react with mercury and form sodium amalgam, and on hydrolysis of this sodium amalgam, what I will get? I will get mercury back and I will get NaOH. So in this way reaction occur. Clear? So write down. I will get mercury back and NaOH, and plus I will get hydrogen gas too. This is not required, but understand. Clear? So that's why I have to do this long process. So your anode can be steel or carbon. It will okay, no problem. It will work. Carbon rod also will work. But cathode I cannot use for carbon, or cathode I cannot use steel. Cathode I have to use mercury only, because sodium will deposit at cathode. And if it is at cathode, if it is a steel or iron, so what will happen? The steel or iron, with the steel or iron, sodium will not get react. Instead it will come in contact with air, blast will occur. So what I am doing? I am playing one role that I am using cathode at mercury. I am using cathode as mercury. So sodium will deposit at cathode. In short, sodium will deposit at mercury. Suddenly it will react with mercury, forms amalgams, sodium amalgam. On hydrolysis of this sodium amalgam, I will get NaOH, Hg back, my electrode, and I will get hydrogen gas. In this way, I will prevent the connection of sodium with air, so that blast will also not occur. I will get NaOH also, so I will sell this also in the market. I will sell hydrogen gas also in the market. I will sell chlorine gas also in the market, and Hg will remain as it is. Clear this part? So this is the re-electrolysis of brine. So in this way we are doing the manufacturing of chlorine gas. So first is by heating the mixture. Understood this here consequences? I can use this process for chlorine, for bromine, for iodine, but I cannot use for the fluorine because MnO2 cannot oxidize HF to F2 because HF, that is F minus, is a powerful oxidizing agent. So I cannot use this process for the fluorine. By the concentrated HCl KMnO4, so I get KCl, MnCl2, H2O and chlorine gas. We can balance at your home. Decane's process, remember Decane's process is the industrial process of chlorine gas. In Decane's process what you are doing? Just you are doing the oxidation of HCl vapor. But you remember one important catalyst, and that catalyst is CuCl2 at 723 temperature. So you get H2O and Cl2. Next is electrolysis of brine. So at brine means NaCl, concentrated aqueous solution of NaCl, Na plus and Cl minus. Na plus will go to the cathode, Cl minus will go to the anode. At anode oxidation occurs and chlorine gas will be liberated. But if cathode it is a steel or carbon, so cathode if sodium get deposit, and if it is a steel or carbon, so sodium will not react with steel or carbon, directly come in the contact with air. So what I am doing, I am using the cathode as mercury. So as the sodium deposit on the mercury, it will react with mercury cathode and form sodium amalgam. On hydrolysis of a sodium amalgam, I get NaOH, H2 and my mercury back. So I prepare actually three products, NaOH I product, H2 also I produce and Cl2 also I produce, and I get my mercury back. Clear this part? So in this way I can generate the chlorine gas. Write down this, it's very important. In the next slide we will go to the physical properties and the chemical properties. So hello everyone, again we will see these physical properties. Okay, second part of the lecture. Today I will complete chemical also, and we will see one more. There are 7 chemical properties, more are there. Okay, I will continue, then I will go with the uses. See the physical property. Physical property is very important. First, it is greenish yellow gas. Starting only I told you, the Davy gave the name. Why the Davy gave the name chlorine? Because in the Greek, greenish yellow gas is known as a chlorine. So that's why first physical property says it is a greenish yellow gas, 2.5 times heavier than the air, easily liquefied, having a suffocating odor. You will feel undifficult or you will feel uneasiness if you inhale the chlorine gas. Okay, and easily liquefied into greenish yellow liquid. So it is a gas is also a greenish yellow color gas, and it will liquefy also in a greenish yellow liquid, and easily liquefaction, you know, low temperature, high pressure. Next, soluble in water in all the proportions. Clear? So physical property clear. The physical property says what? It is a greenish yellow color gas, suffocating odor, easily liquefied. It is higher denser than the air, nearly 2.5 times heavier than the air. When you liquefy it, so it will also make the liquid on liquefaction, that is also same color as that of a gas, that is greenish yellow liquid, soluble in water. Clear? So we will see now chemical properties one by one. So first is with metal and non-metal. So along with me please also write down. So make a heading with metal. First you pause the video and you write down this portion. Okay, and along with me you write down one by one. So pause the video. So I hope you written this. Okay, so now we'll start first. Along with me also write down with metal and non-metal. So write down chlorine gas, write down Cl2 gas will react with number of metal and non-metal, will react with number of metals and non-metal and produce chlorides. Chlorine gas will react with number of metals and non-metals and produce chlorides. So first we will see sodium plus chlorine will generate what? So this is Na plus and this is Cl minus, so it will generate NaCl. We say as a sodium chloride. The next we see, suppose if I take phosphorus, now it is a non-metal, okay, so Cl exists as Cl2, no? So it will generate PCl3, so or PCl5, we know this. Third we can say aluminium plus chlorine, so it will form what? AlCl3 and etc. So fifth we can see one more non-metal we will take, that is acid, sulfur, okay, clear, so it will produce S2Cl2, sulfuryl chloride, this also we have seen. Yes or no? So write down, these are the certain examples, you can add certain more examples. Yeah. So it will also react with metal and it will also react with non-metal and produce what? Chlorides. That is like sodium chloride, phosphorus trichloride, aluminum chloride, sulfuryl chlorides. Clear? Clear? So next we will see, take a screenshot, okay. So next we will see, this is also very important, that is with SO2, write down, with SO2 and Cu. Please write down, this is important. Okay. Chlorine react with, write down, chlorine reacts with SO2 and CO. Chlorine reacts with SO2, and CO, yes, SO2 and CO forms sulfuryl chloride, and carbonyl chloride. Cl2 reacts with, okay, Cl2 reacts with, or you can write down dry Cl2, okay, this all condition are up to here, 1 to 4 condition, okay, so 1 to 4 condition, whatever Cl2 I am using, this Cl2 is dry Cl2, okay, so don't worry about it. So dry Cl2 reacts with SO2 and CO and will form sulfuryl chloride and carbonyl chloride. Sulfuryl chloride and carbonyl chloride. So see here, SO2 plus Cl2, so it will generate SOCl2 or SO2Cl2. Sorry, SO2Cl2. Yes, SO2Cl2, and the name is sulfuryl chloride. This is important, okay. Sulfuryl chloride. Okay. Similarly, carbon monoxide will also react with chlorine. It will generate COCl2, and this CO group is also a carbonyl group, as we know. No? See the structure, or see the structure here. C double bond O, Cl, Cl. So this is carbonyl compound. We will understand in organic chemistry. So name is carbonyl chloride. Carbonyl chloride. Write down. Here. Then we will see the third property. Written? Okay. So we will see the third property. Third property is also very important. Third property says with hydrocarbon. With hydrocarbon. Write down. Okay. Write down. Chlorine reacts with number of hydrocarbon, saturated hydrocarbon. Does not react in dark, as we know chlorine reaction are not occur in dark, okay. So does not react in dark, but undergo substitution reaction, in diffuse light, okay. So we will see this reaction we will see. See CH4 plus Cl2, okay. So what will happen, you know, from here one H will come out, see here Cl, Cl, so from here one H, see this is only for your information, okay. So what will happen, from here one H will react with Cl and generate HCl, and this CH3 and Cl again will form CH3Cl, clear. So this reaction will occur, again one more chlorine will come, so what will happen, again this Cl, again this Cl, again from here one CH2Cl, again one H will come out, at each and every step one H will come out, so this H and this Cl will form HCl, and you will get here CH2 Cl plus Cl, CH2Cl2, clear. Again here one Cl2, so what will happen, the reaction from here the split will occur as CHCl2 and H, from also here also ClCl, so this Cl and this H will form HCl, and this CHCl2 plus Cl2 to CHCl3, again once more Cl2 will come here, this split will occur from ClCl, this also split occur CCl3 and H, so here also H and one HCl will be formed, and you will form here, I have CCl3 and Cl here, so CCl4, and this is known as a carbon tetrachloride. In this way carbon tetrachloride we are forming. This is nothing but an inorganic solvent, carbon tetrachloride. So in short, CH4, if I want to write down general reaction, Cl2, so I will write down here CCl4, carbon tetrachloride plus HCl, When you balance here, so how many chlorine are there here? 4. But how many chlorine are here? There 2. So I will write down here 4. I write down here, sorry, CH4, no? So here 4 I will write down, 4 HCl. So chlorine are 8. So I write down here 4. See, everything is balanced. Yes or no? So carbon is 1, carbon is 1, or I can write down directly. This is the direct reaction, and this reaction I have shown the stepwise. So see this CH4. If I react the Cl2, final product what I am getting? I am getting final product as CCl4, and each and every step I am getting HCl. So if you see the reaction, see how much after balancing I came to know I will get only 1 CCl4. See, I am getting only 1 CCl4. How much HCl I should get? 4 HCl I should get. 1 HCl, 2 HCl, here 3 HCl and 4 HCl. And how much chlorine should be used? So 4 chlorine should be used. 1 chlorine used, second chlorine used, third chlorine used, and fourth chlorine used. So either you write down this stepwise reaction, you write down this reaction. Clear? So this is with the hydrocarbon. Write down, take a screenshot. Clear? One more reaction we will see with hydrocarbons. Take a note. In this way we can prepare carbon tetrachlorides. Clear? Okay. So one more reaction we will see with alkene. Okay. So see here, this is alkene, ethene. I will react with Cl2. So what I will get? Cl, Cl. When Cl will react here, so it will form what? CH2Cl. Clear? So as carbon can form only 4 bonds. So when Cl will come here, so carbon has made now 4 bonds. So to accommodate this Cl, this bond will get break. So this double bond will become a single bond, and CH2, and one space also will be created. So one space is created, there is a 1 Cl here. So this is Cl. So what is the name is this? So the name will be 1,2-dichloroethane. So in this way, chlorine will react with alkene compound also. Write down this. Clear? Clear this part? Okay, next we will go with ammonia. Very important reaction. Number of time has been asked in the exam. Very important. This is also very important. Okay? Written no one? Okay, so we will see next with ammonia. See. So next you can write down fourth reaction with ammonia. Okay, so there are two conditions here, ammonia plus Cl2, ammonia plus Cl2. We will see two conditions, either this is excess or this is excess. Clear? So both the reactions are very important, and number of time has been asked in the competition exam as well as in your general book. Clear? So see, if NH3 is excess, ammonia excess react with chlorine, so it will generate ammonium chloride plus HCl. Balance the reaction at your home. But if fluorine is excess, it will generate NCl3 and Cl2, chlorine gas. NCl3 and HCl. If ammonia is excess, it will react with chlorine and forms NH4Cl and N2. It is given wrong in this paper. You can see in your textbook, it is given here somewhere, some mistake has happened. Instead of HCl, N2 will come, and when NH3Cl2 is excess, here NCl3 will come, and instead of Cl2, HCl will come here. So this is the correct answer. See how to remember, when ammonia is excess, so NH4Cl will come and nitrogen gas will be liberated. So see here, I will tell you one key point. Ammonia is excess. So this nitrogen compound is excess, no? So see, two compounds are made up of nitrogen only. See, check it out. In this way you can remember. Ammonia is excess means this nitrogen is excess. Suppose. So I'm giving you this trick to remember the products. So ammonia is excess. When ammonia is excess, so see, two of the products are of nitrogen. And here chlorine is excess, means two of the products are of chlorine. See, check it out. Clear? Easy? When ammonia is excess, so here in this way you understand, ammonia excess means nitrogen excess. So two of the product are of nitrogen. When chlorine is excess, two of the product are of chlorine. And this is used as an explosive. Okay, NCl3 is used as an explosive. It's an explosive. Okay, NCl3 is an explosive. So when ammonia is excess means nitrogen is excess, it will form NH4Cl and N2, because nitrogen product is excess, so nitrogen product only will come. When chlorine is excess, so chlorine product only will come. So first is NCl3 and HCl. NCl3 is used as an explosive. So write down this. This is very, very important. Very means very important. Please trust me, it's very important. Clear? Fifth point, we'll go with fifth point. Understood now? Who is excess, then which product will come? If ammonia is excess, understand, nitrogen is excess, and we will get two products of nitrogen, that is one is NH4Cl and N2. If fluorine is excess, so we will get two of the product of fluorine, one is NCl3, another one is HCl. Clear? Next you will see, next is with water. Okay, so before going to the water, I would like to explain one thing, that chlorine dissolve in water, and forms HCl and HOCl. Clear? But this HOCl will get decomposed. So please remember, HOCl gets decomposed in sunlight or in the presence of light. So if I take chlorine, if I take here H2O, so it will generate HCl plus HOCl, but again this HOCl will get decomposed to form HCl plus O2. And before the formation of O2, I told you, oxygen gas, before the formation of O2, there will be nascent oxygen, newly born oxygen. That newly born oxygen will generate to form O2. So that newly born oxygen means nascent oxygen, which will be responsible for bleaching action. It will come in further, today itself it will come. So please remember this, that with water I am doing, actually I am doing with this water only, fourth property. So chlorine dissolve in water and forms HCl and HOCl, and this solution will be greenish color solution, okay. So the solution will be greenish color solution, okay, greenish color. Yellow is greenish color, yellow is green color, in this way remember, yellowish green color, okay. So solution will be yellowish green color, but if you keep on long standing, so this color will be lost. Why? Because HCl vapors will go outside, okay. So on long standing of a green color, yellowish green color HCl solution, it will loses its color because the HCl will come out as its vapor. That's why the liquid solution of HCl, chlorine gas, liquid solution of a chlorine gas is kept in a closed bottle. Bottle should be closed. If you open the bottle, all the HCl vapors will come out and greenish yellow color will go off. Clear this part? So write down this, okay. So write down, chlorine dissolve in the water and forms HCl and HOCl, okay, and HCl get decomposed in the presence of sunlight. Light is important here, sunlight, that is H mu, and forms HCl and O2. Clear this part? This is the fifth property. Sixth property is also very important because it has been asked and some conditions are also given. Clear this part? Everyone are understanding or not? If I am going speed, please comment me. So you are going very speed, but what to do? You have to complete the course. Yes or no? Okay. So when you take the water solution of a chlorine gas, so the water solution or the solution of chlorine with water is a yellowish greenish color solution, and on a long standing, what will happen? That yellowish green color solution will faint away, will go away. Why? Because HCl vapor will come out. That's why the chlorine gas solution, aqueous solution of a chlorine is kept in a closed bottle. Okay. Next with alkali, but before write down with alkali. Write down with alkali. Here you write down, and it's very important. I'll give one point. Write down. Chlorine react with alkali like NaOH in the two condition. First cold and dilute. Second hot and concentrated. Comma. With cold and dilute, hypochlorites are generated. Hypochlorite, HYPO, CHLORITE, hypochlorite are generated. And with hot and concentrated, chlorate, CHLORATE, chlorate are generated. Clear this part? Now see here. I take chlorine and I react with NaOH, and I am first condition I am keeping for the NaOH, that is cold and diluted. So please remember this. Here I will get two compound. First I will get NaCl plus H2O. This compound is common, but if it is cold and dilute, I will get NaOCl. The name of this is sodium hypochlorite. Please remember, very important. Sodium hypochlorite. Clear? But same chlorine gas, and I will change the condition of NaOH and I will keep hot and concentrated. Clear? So I will get here NaCl. Yes or no? I will get here NaCl. I will get here H2O because these are the common product. But instead of sodium hypochlorite, now I will get sodium chloride, NaClO3. So the name of this is sodium chlorate. Very, again this is also important. Clear? Write down this. If chlorine gas is reacted with NaOH, so NaOH they have given two conditions. If condition is cold and diluted, it will generate sodium hypochlorite. If the condition for NaOH is hot and concentrated, it will generate sodium chlorate. These two products are common. Please remember, cold and dilute, hypochlorite, sodium hypochlorite. Hot and concentrated, sodium chlorate. Here it was Na, so I got here Na. If it was here KOH, because the KOH is also an alkali, so I will get what? Sodium hypochlorite. I will get I will get potassium hypochlorite if it was here KOH, and vice versa. Clear? So write down this. Clear? Clear this part? It's very important. Next we will see. Clear, no? Okay. So next we will see with dry slaked lime. With dry. See, up to here this is a dry chlorine, but after up to here it is a moist chlorine. Okay, aqueous form of chlorine. Okay. So up to here 1 to 5 the reaction are with 1 to 4 the reaction are with dry chlorine. From 5, 6, 7 moist chlorine, chlorine water in short. Clear? Okay. So with dry slaked lime. Remembering standard 10 old course, no? You are all in old course, yes or no? Most of have come to me also for standard 10. So in dry slaked lime, you know the preparation of a bleaching powder. Remembering a rotatory clean and big furnace will be there, and each and every portion we are keeping the slaked lime, and from the slaked lime we are keeping in the rotatory furnace, and from the each and every portion we are entering the chlorine gas. So chlorine gas will react with the slaked lime and convert into the bleaching powder. Remembering that reaction. So with dry slaked lime, write down. Chlorine reacts with dry slaked lime. Chlorine reacts with dry slaked lime and generate bleaching powder. So write down this. And see, whatever I write down here, bleaching powder, the reaction is different and bleaching powder formula is different. So both you have to remember. So CaOH twice. This is dry slaked lime, and I am adding here chlorine. So I get here CaCl2, CaOCl twice plus H2O. Clear? This together is nothing but a what? Bleaching powder. I will give the exact formula for bleaching powder. So first we write down the reaction. Okay. Remember in standard 11 also we have done this in redox reaction. CaOCl and Cl. Remembering? Understood? Revision. Yes or no? In redox reaction we have done this. But you have to remember here in textbook bleaching formula is given, and that formula has been asked number of times in the competition exams. So write down the bleaching powder actual composition. Means composition. This is very important for competition exam. So write down, see how to remember. First we will see how to remember this portion. Clear? See, first you remember this. CaOCl twice, then you remember CaCl2, then you remember CaOH twice, and then you remember 2H2O. So this is the actual composition of, see in certain books they are written like this, CaOCl twice. This is wrong. Let me see your textbook 1 minute. Let me see your textbook 1 minute. In your textbook also they have given CaOCl twice. Okay, you follow your textbook. Huh? Actually is CaOCl twice, but you follow your textbook. Okay, please you follow your textbook. Okay. Okay, you follow your textbook only. So CaOCl twice. Actually CaOCl twice will not come. CaOCl2 will come. This is the actual composition. But in your textbook they have given, you have to go according to textbook. So you remember in this way. So how to remember? See this formula. Once more I will write down the formula. This was correct only. Huh? Sorry. See bleaching formula once more I will write down. See here. CaOCl twice. Remember this. Understood? Then you write down CaCl2. Then you copy this. Copy paste you do. But how copy paste? Instead of Cl write down H. So CaOH twice. Now here how many hydrogen are there? 2 hydrogen. So 2H2O. This is the actual composition of a bleaching powder. Please remember, it's very important. It will ask in the exam. Clear? So next we will go to the oxidizing agent. Clear? Okay. So next, see here one point I have written here. I am in the chemical properties only. Okay. So chlorine water will have a which color? Greenish yellow color, yellowish green color. So that chlorine water on standing it will lose what? The yellowish green color is loosed. Why? We know that greenish yellow color solution will form HCl and HOCl. That HOCl again will get decomposed and forms what? Oxygen gas. Clear? Nascent oxygen. And that formation, due to the formation of that nascent oxygen, so that formation of nascent oxygen only will yield its bleaching properties and its oxidizing properties. Now how? We will see this. See first. This is also very important. You write down. Chalo. Chlorine is a powerful oxidizing agent. Write down. Chlorine is a powerful oxidizing agent. It oxidizes. Write down along with me. Fe plus 2 to Fe plus 3. Write down. This is very important. Fe plus 2 to Fe plus 3. SO2 to H2SO4. SO2 to H2SO4. SO3 2 minus 2 SO4 2 minus, that is sulfide to sulfate. SO3 2 minus 2 SO4 2 minus, and H2O3 2 minus, H2O3 2 minus to S and SO4 2 minus. Clear? H2O3 2 minus to S and SO4 2 minus. We will see one by one reaction. Then on the first reaction, when Fe plus 2 is reacted with chlorine, so it will generate Fe plus 3 and Cl minus. See here chlorine was 0, but here it is a minus 1, so it is reduction. Reduction means what? It is acting as an oxidizing agent. That's why I told you, no, oxidizing property. Next you can add down that SO2 when reacted with chlorine in the aqueous medium, so it will generate H2SO4 plus Cl minus, or you can add down HCl, or you can add down HCl, sorry, add down HCl, you can add down the HCl. Clear? Clear this part? Next you can see in your book SO3 2 minus to SO4 2 minus, but you see this H2O3 2 minus, please, this is reaction is very important. If you take H2O3 2 minus, okay, and you react with chlorine in an aqueous medium, so it will form S plus SO4 minus 2 plus HCl. So if I take here Na plus, if I add Na plus on both the sides, so what I will get? I will get here Na2SO3, Na2H2O3. See what I am doing, I am just adding Na plus on both the sides. So if I add here Na plus, so I get here Na2H2O3, I will get here Na2SO4. So see, Na2H2O3 plus Cl2 plus H2O, so I will add here S, then I get here Na2SO4 plus here I get HCl. Now see here, this Na2H2O3 is reacting with chlorine gas, and chlorine gas is converted into HCl. So HCl is a gas which will vaporize or will convert into acid. So this Na2H2O3, understand, this Na2H2O3 is used to remove chlorine. This Na2H2O3 is used to remove chlorine and convert chlorine into HCl. That's why Na2H2O3 is known as anti-chlor. Please remember, is known as anti-chlor. anti-chlor. This is very important point. Clear? See this. I have added here Na plus on the both the side, no? So Na2H2O3, if you do crisscross, and I add here also Na plus, I will get here Na2SO4. So I got here Na2H2O3, Cl2H2, I get this answer. So see here, if anywhere there is a chlorine gas, so if I react with Na2H2O3, so chlorine gas is removed or converted into HCl. So this Na2H2O3 is used to remove the chlorine gas from any product. So that's why this N2H2O3 is known as a anti-chlor. It is not anti-chlor, it is anti-chlor. Removal of chlorine. Clear? So write down. This point is very important, that is Na2H2O3 is known as an anti-chlor. Are you understanding or not? Write down. Next. Next we will see bleaching property. Written now? Take a screenshot. Okay, thank you. Next you write down. Next is bleaching property. If you take chlorine gas and dissolve in the water, so you know it will generate HCl plus HOCl. So when this HOCl will decompose, forms HCl plus O2, but before going to O2 I told you to generate what? Newly born oxygen, or we say as a nascent oxygen. We say as a nascent oxygen. This nascent oxygen is responsible for bleaching action. So if I take color material, and if I add with nascent oxygen, it will be colorless material. So this property is known as a bleaching action. So who is responsible for the bleaching action? This is nascent oxygen is responsible for the bleaching action. Suppose if I take the chlorine water, and I add to the color material, it will convert into colorless. Is chlorine water is responsible? No. In chlorine water there is a presence of HOCl. That HOCl will generate nascent oxygen, and that nascent oxygen is reacting with color to convert colorless. So that nascent oxygen is responsible for bleaching action. Write down this. Clear? Written? Now last 2-minute topic. I know you are feeling too much bored, you got tired, I know this, but it's very important. Last uses, and in that uses there are 2 points. 100% question will come from the uses. 100% that formula will come, which I am going to give you now. So be focused. Write down this. Last topic for 5 minutes. Okay. So write down uses. Write down the uses. First use. It is used for bleaching. It is used as a bleaching agent. As you know this, it is used as a bleaching agent. It is used, write down. It is used as a bleaching agent in bleaching wood pulp, textiles, etc. Bleaching wood pulp, textiles, etc. Next, write down. It is used in a sterilizing of water. 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 Next, write down. It is used in the manufacturing of compound like. It is used in the manufacturing of compound like CCl3. Just now we have seen, no? DDT, etc. It is used in a formation or manufacturing of compound like CCl3, DDT, CFCs, etc. Write down. Now I am going to give, it's very important. No? It is used to prepare tear gas. See, remember the formula for tear gas. It will come in the exam. Tear gas formula is important. CCl3NO2. This is the tear gas. CCl3NO2 is a tear gas. It is used, first write down, it is used in the preparation of tear gas. You know tear gas, in riots and all, no, they will throw one bomb. From that bomb gas will come. If you inhale that gas, you will feel to cry. Will feel to cry means water will come out from your eyes. So that's why it is known as a tear gas. Tears will come out from your eyes. So that is known as a tear gas. And what is the formula for tear gas? Please, it is very important. Tear gas is CCl3NO2. Then you can write down phosgene. Next important is phosgene. COCl2. Phosgene. Carbonyl chloride. Just now we have seen, no? Carbonyl chloride, COCl2. So carbonyl chloride or industrial name is phosgene. COCl2, phosgene. And remember mustard gas. This is also very important, very important. Mustard gas. Sir, how to remember the formula for mustard gas? Okay. So first everyone on the board, I will teach you how to write down the mustard gas formula, because in exam they will give which of the following is the correct formula for the mustard gas. See the formula, see. First you write down CH2, 2 times CH2. See, I will write down here mustard gas formula. See, write down 2 times CH2. Okay, write down Cl here. So you write down Cl, CH2, CH2. Written, select, copy and write down paste. So do it paste, CH2, CH2, Cl. And in center S. This is mustard gas. Once more I will write down. See here. Mustard gas formula. Write down Cl. Write down 2 times CH2, CH2. Select it, copy and paste, but in reverse. So CH2, CH2, Cl. See here. Mirror image, no? So first remember Cl, CH2, CH2. Write down its mirror image. CH2, CH2, Cl. Leaving some space, and in that space you add S, sulfur. So this is your mustard gas. Please remember this. This all gas, tear gas, phosgene, mustard gas, this all gas formulas will come in the exam, and this all the gas are used in the riots. Okay, mustard gas. Clear, no man? How to remember the formula for mustard gas? Yes or no? Cl, CH2, CH2. Copy paste, reverse, CH2, CH2, Cl, in the center S. Okay. Next, write down. It is used in the manufacturing of dyes and drugs. It is used in the manufacturing of dyes and drugs. It is used in the manufacturing of dyes and drugs. It is used in the manufacturing of dyes and drugs. Clear? So that's it. Another use will be given in the textbook. You can write down. Okay. But whatever the important use was there, I have given this formula for gases. You can copy out it. So here I am ending the chlorine completely. In the next class we will see HCl completely, and then we will move to the interhalogen compound. If you have any doubt, please ask me, please comment me, ask in the query section, or you can comment in YouTube itself. Please tell me, please ask me if you have any doubt. I can help you at any time. And write and read. Don't simply read. Read it, write it. Read it, write it. So it will help you in the exam and remember. Thank you.